Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. We sure appreciate when you can come on with us live. We understand that that can't always happen. And we sure appreciate everybody that follows The Doctor Is In on Facebook or on and there's Michael, Andrea, Nativity, and let's see who's in that top there. Karen, how are you from Peterborough? Rain Cloud from Michigan. I didn't see Amber. Amber, how are you? New Jersey, how you doing? I didn't see Brahim. Denise, Rosa, Moriat. There's Brahim. Were you up at the top, Brahim? I might have missed you. Chantal, how are you? Kevin, how are you? From Oshawa. Wendy from Markham. And Jeanette, how are you doing? Donna from Park Hill. Joanne, Berks Falls, how are you? Cecilia, Shediac, Nouveau Brunswick. Sandy, Maryland. And Maria, Ottawa. Norma, how are you doing? Fran. And Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Heather, how are you? Rosemary, Moncton, New Brunswick. Dave, good morning from Gilmore. Donna, Bell Valley, how are you? Dave, our friend from Muskoka. Nick from our staff. Rolly, England. Diane, T-Bay, Thunder Bay, how are you? Brahim saying he's here. Yeah, I got you, Brahim. Kitty, Kelowna, how are you? Frida, Devlin, good morning, guys. Bruno, nice having you on as you get your notifications. Suzanne from Edmonton. Vince, let me see. Cheryl, how are you doing? Chantal says, yeah, we're going to talk about Jeanette here. Cheryl, Wendy, and Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Another Donna. We love you guys. Darlene, Saskatchewan. Jeanette, how are you? And Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Donna's. I think I've seen 5 so far this morning. Kristen, Dorothy, good morning from Florida. Francis, and Bonnie, Little Britain. Sue, how are you from Bolton? Linda, oh, we love those Lindas. Marianne, Annette, and Rachel. Okay, so let me, hi Dale, how are you? I like your last name, Dale Martin. Fran, Orangeville. Marlene, Newfoundland. Susan, I know I missed so many guys. I don't mean to. Hey, Renee, how are you? Yvonne, Petawawa. Guys, Linda from New Brunswick. Today, last day for Jeanette. Now, many of you know Jeanette on this site, okay? Now, Jeanette has been working for the Martin Clinic for several years. Even before we were doing the podcast, The Doctor Is In, she was with me in the office. Her and Nicole especially were, Brandy too, but Nicole and Jeanette were actually, would see my patients before I would, okay? And to get them all prepped for me to come in, and Jeanette and Nicole, top in their field. And so Jeanette is retiring this morning. Today, we want to say thank you, Jeanette. We love you dearly. One of the greatest, and I mean it. Made my job so much easier. And we thank you for that. Love you dearly. I know we're going to miss her, and Nicole's going to miss her, and I know Brandy's going to miss her. We're all going to miss her. And so if you get a chance, just sort of shout out to Jeanette on her last day, okay? We thank her for all that great service to the Martin Clinic and to you guys. Very instrumental part of our team. Team. I used to talk about that all the time in the office. Teamwork. We do this together. And I was always teaching my staff. Okay? I didn't only want to teach my patients, I want to teach my staff. And they were so good. Okay, now, I want to make a quote because we're going to talk about heart disease this morning. And what should you do? Still the number one killer in our society today is heart disease. Okay, but I want to read you a quote. We've done this before, but I think it bears repeating. I think this is so significant. I remember reading this years ago. And let me read this quote to you, and we're going to go over this. Most people who die of heart disease go to their grave never knowing that they were really a diabetic. Okay, let me just say that again. Most people who die of heart disease go to their grave never knowing that they were really a diabetic, that their arteries were on fire for years. Okay? And Dr. Joseph Kraft, now, you've heard me talk about him in the past. He was a pathologist, had several specialties, actually, and was sort of the, we used to call him the father of diabetes or the father of insulin. I don't think there's anybody that studied diabetes more than Dr. Kraft. And he did several thousand autopsies on people with cardiovascular disease. And again, let me quote, most people who die of heart disease go to their graves never knowing that they were really diabetic, okay? That their arteries were on fire for years, okay? Now, Dr. Joseph Kraft, the father of insulin disease, said this: you have heart disease, you have diabetes, even if it's undiagnosed. If you have heart disease, you have diabetes, even if it's undiagnosed. Wow. That is a statement, okay? Unbelievable. Now, if you read any of his writings, Dr. Joseph Kraft, not Kraft dinner, by the way. He didn't invent that. He would have told you, never eat that stuff, okay? But he said the initial manifestation of the pathology, okay, of diabetes is atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, okay? Listen to this. A Euro Aspire study confirmed this. Diabetes causes atherosclerosis. 80% in the study of cardiovascular disease, and 20% of these were undiagnosed. Okay, now let me break these statements down for you a little wee bit as we talk about, okay, what can we do to avoid or help or prevent cardiovascular disease, which is the number one killer in our society today. Okay, still number one. And the idea that Dr. Kraft brings out, light years ahead of his time, before people were talking about insulin resistance. I never studied insulin resistance in school, guys. I never did. I studied insulin. I studied diabetes. I grew up in a home with diabetes. Okay? It changed my life. It really did. It changed my life. Growing up in a home with diabetes. My dad was a diabetic. It changed my life. I started exercising with him. I cut out sugars with him when I was a teenager. It changed my life. I went to school, took over 2,000 hours of nutrition, and in my head, even in those days, I said in my head, they're wrong. Because in those days, and even today in nutrition, heart disease is avoid cholesterol, avoid red meat, and fatty foods, because that'll clog up your arteries. Even today, here we are, 2025, we still are backwards in nutrition. But what Dr. Kraft said many, many moons ago was that sugar was a culprit. Sugar left unattended in the bloodstream. Where do you think I got a lot of my sayings when it comes to heart disease? Sugar left unattended. Sugar is destructive. You can't leave it in the bloodstream. Your body knows more than the whole world out there. Your body knows that cholesterol's not the problem. Your body makes cholesterol. 85% of all the cholesterol that you have in your body, and by the way, it's in every cell you own, it's in every organ that you own, your body makes it. It makes 85% of your cholesterol. You can't live without cholesterol. Your body knows it. But you can live without sugar. Your body knows that too. And your body knows that sugar is so toxic that it will do everything it can to keep sugar left unattended out of your bloodstream. That's why you have an organ called your pancreas, and that's why you have a hormone secreted by your pancreas to control your blood sugar. It needs to be tightly controlled. True, you don't want it to go too low, but the biggest problem we have in our society is not low blood sugar. It's high blood sugar. And the consequences of that. And what Dr. Kraft said many, many years ago was that when someone has atherosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries, and that doesn't happen overnight, by the way, you're a diabetic. Now, you guys know that I talk like that. I'm a big guy on that. You know that. Now, what Dr. Kraft didn't say, and I'll say it, is that what he's talking about in terms of atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, has a big effect everywhere else on the body. Hardening of the arteries, very, very serious, for sure. Okay? For sure. But I brought to you over the years, and I've written several books on it. One of them was Serial Killers, 2 Hormones That Want You Dead, right? And I talked about what insulin does when insulin is overused. And a few weeks ago, we talked about the downstream effect of Sugar. Downstream. And you can start, Dr. Kraft talks about heart disease. He wrote a book, let me see if I can find it. It was, I'm just trying to remember the title of it. Diabetes, hold on. Let me see. I'm going to look at Amazon just see if they even have it anymore. Diabetes, Dr. Joseph Kraft, hold it. There's Amazon. Let me just see if they have it on sale here. Okay. Dr. Joseph Kraft. Let me see here. Okay. I don't see it. Diabetes epidemic. Yes. Diabetes epidemic in you. Third edition. Hardcover. 39.64. Okay. Okay. The diabetic epidemic in you. Anyway, I've studied Dr. Kraft for many, many, many years and his work. Okay. So we talked about the downstream effect of sugar. Brain. Think of it. Brain. Sugar is so toxic that they call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. Type 3. We all know about ADHD. Okay? We all know about it. You ask any teacher, ask any parent what sugar does to kids. Okay? Hyperactivity. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that can change their behavior. Grandparents give their grandchildren sugar and then send them home to pay back their kids. Okay? We know what it does to teeth. And what people don't know what it does to your gut. One of the worst things you can do for your gut is sugar. And sugar causes, it's a big factor in dysbiosis, in the bacteria, the microbiome, and even destroying your bowel. That's why one of the reasons we see so much colorectal cancer today. Why is there so much colorectal cancer? Bad oils, bad sugar, high fructose corn syrup. We know what it does to the liver, fatty liver. Never seen such a thing. I never even studied fatty liver when I was in school in the 70s. Sugary joints will ruin your joints by the process called glycation. We know that it destroys blood cells because it will hook on, sugar will hook on to your hemoglobin. You can actually measure it. You guys know how much I love A1C, measuring A1C. It can affect your skin. You might as well be smoking. If you're a sugarholic, it'll age you big time. Glycation of the skin. It destroys collagen. It just destroys your pancreas. It's one of the reasons we see so much pancreatitis today. And pancreatic cancer. Do you know, when I was in school in the 70s, okay? You know one thing we never heard of? Pancreatic cancer. It's not that it wasn't around, guys. I'm telling you, it was so rare. It was an old man's disease. Old men in their 70s or 80s could get pancreatic cancer. It was so rare. Today, not so much. It is a big time cancer. The fastest growing cancers, okay? The fastest growing cancers Our colorectal cancer, again, used to be a rare cancer. And pancreatic cancer. And then the cancers that used to kill us were bad, I mean, like breast cancer. Guys, we haven't even made a dent in breast cancer. Now, sugar's not the only culprit, but it's a major culprit. And I always tell people, look, let's say you get the diagnosis of cancer. Okay, we don't want that, but let's say you do. The first thing you do is cut out sugar. Because cancer needs fuel. We've known that since 1928. And the Otto Warburg effect that we've talked about on this program many, many, many a time. The process of fermentation in cancer. You need a fuel. You need glucose. Well, cut it out. Cut it out. You don't have to go to Mexico and go to a clinic in Mexico for them to tell you at least do that. Cut out the sugars. Why do we see so much eye disease today? What's behind your eyes? Circulation. What destroys circulation? Sugar. What destroys kidneys? Circulation. Sugar destroys your kidneys. Ask a diabetic. Sugar destroys your sleep. It's a big factor. What? Well, sleep apnea. When the biggest factor in sleep apnea is a condition called fatty tongue. When your insulin, guys, is a growth hormone. If you cut out the carbs, the crappy carbs and the sugars, what a difference it makes. So you got the memo? Now back to heart disease. Okay, back to heart disease. What do? Okay, well, start with your diet. Like if you've got advanced atherosclerosis, okay, and medicine, 100% for sure, will focus in on your cholesterol. Guys, don't be shocked by that. Don't be shocked by that. Remember who I am. I'm just a lone ranger. Now, I'm not the only guy talking about cholesterol not being the root of heart disease. It's much more popular today than it used to be. I've been around a long time, guys. I watched a major paradigm shift that happened in my lifetime. It actually happened in my practice days. Heart disease became a cholesterol thing. When I was a kid, cholesterol wasn't the big boo-boo in heart disease. It wasn't the problem. The only dent in heart disease and cancers come from the fact that people stop smoking. Remember, 9 out of 10 doctors smoke Camel cigarettes. Like, they used to think that smoking was good for you. If you can believe that. I mean, it's comical. But I'm old enough, guys. I've been on this planet for enough turns around the sun to know that when I was a kid, smoking, my dad was ahead of the curve. That in 1962, my dad, I'll never forget the day that he said, nope, smoking. He said, I read an article, I don't know where he read it, that smoking causes cancer. My dad, that was the end of it. What? Everybody smoked in those days. My older brother smoked. I had 3 older brothers. They all smoked. My mother smoked. I don't know how we ever lived in that home, but it was so common in those days. Okay? So guys, one thing you can do with heart disease, change your diet. Now, the other thing I would do, okay, this is diet too, is get rid of those bad oils. Guys, we have a ratio. One of the things that even in a diabetic is inflammation in the organs, okay, and the blood vessels. Inflammation, but inflammation not Houdini. Inflammation doesn't just show up for no reason. You get an inflammatory response. One of the biggest factors in our society today for that is the amount of seed oils that we consume. Guys, we are on the wrong sugars, high fructose corn syrup. We're on the wrong oil, and we're on the wrong flour. Okay? Those are big factors. And one of the biggest factors is Procter & Gamble, who started this whole craze of seed oils, hydrogenated, highly processed oils that were meant for you to drive your car, to put in your car engine. They're lubricants for that. They're good for your car, but not for you. And they're in all the foods pretty well. Every processed food. Every fast food. They cook in the wrong oil, guys. Even McDonald's at one time used to cook in lard. Until the public health police stop them. You want to get your cholesterol high? Are you kidding me? You better change that oil in there, and we want those seed oils. And then we got the Hateful Eight. Canada gave the world a terrible gift. Can oil. Canola oil. Canada's gift to the world. It's made us sick. Because it wasn't meant for human consumption. Margarine. Okay? Like, this has been done, by the way. Put margarine, get a tin of margarine, take the top off, and butter in another tin or whatever. Put it outside in the summer, and the bugs won't even go after margarine. They'll go, what is that? Why is that? But they'll be all over the butter. Like margarine, are you kidding me? And even today, still being used. People are still duped. Because if your premise is cholesterol is at the root of heart disease, if your premise is cholesterol rather than sugar, like Dr. Joseph Kraft, the father of diabetes, really, not that he discovered it, it's just that there's nobody that studied diabetes more than he did, as far as I know. And he said that atherosclerosis was 100% diabetes, even if undiagnosed. I mean, that is quite a statement to make. Yep. Now we're going to talk about heart disease. We're going to keep going. in the next program, because I want to talk about what we can do. And, some of these things are so practical. I know that, and we've talked about them before, but I just wanted to give you sort of an overview. And it's why we're failing as a society today. With this chronic disease of heart disease. Now, I'm not saying we're going to eradicate it and nobody's ever going to get heart disease again if we just changed our diet. I'm not saying that, but it's a huge, huge, huge factor. And to the same extent that smoking, that the memo got out to the world, quit smoking. Was that good? You bet your boots it was good. And we need to do it again. This time with crappy carbohydrates. Your body wasn't meant for them. They cause a degenerative condition called atherosclerosis, and that'll affect your blood vessels. You got 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your body. You can go around the equator with your blood vessels just in your body. You got a heart that's a pump. It's a machine, man. And it beats 100,000 times a minute. And until you got a problem with it, you don't even think about it. It just happens. Thank God. But let's take care of it. Okay? So we're going to get into some more detail. Okay. Tomorrow, Thursday, afternoon session. Got it? Friday is what? Question and answer Friday. Send your questions to info@martinclinic.com. Okay? Once again, as we sign off today, we want to tell Jeanette how much we love her. Okay? You guys tell her that. We are going to miss her. I was sort of hoping that day wouldn't come. Now, Nick, I'm just telling you, you better never quit. Okay. We love you guys. Love you dearly. Thanks for this great audience. Thank you for, what are we up to now? 23 or 24,000 members in the private Facebook group. 5 million downloads on the Doctor Is In podcast. Oh, by the way, one more announcement. If you haven't signed up for our live webinar, Q&A, and you get to do it with Dr. Jr., Martin Jr., okay? I always call him the brains of the operation because he really is, okay? And so we'll be on together. Answer your questions. How do you like that live? Okay. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.